Okay. What is up, everybody, and welcome.
We back.
We are back. Welcome to Believe in the Dallas Cowboys with us. I got to see if my buttons still work, if my audio still works. I did a video last night where I was on my couch trying to use my Beats buds, and everybody said the audio was bad, and they were leaving comments, and they were mad at me, and they're like, you should buy a microphone and a roadcaster. And I was like, I have both of those things. They're just in the other room, and I'm watching the Rangers. I just wanted to say hi. But we got equipment now. I am Jeff Cavanaugh from 97.1 The Freak, 2 to 6 p.m. and on the iHeartRadio app. Let's see if my buttons work.
So, all right, here we go.
He is Jesse Holley, former Cowboys wide receiver, who you can hear everywhere on planet Earth.
Yes.
Oh, Jesse Holley went 77 yards. It must be a reality show.
Got caught, though. Got caught, though.
I did. Dante Whitner. He's a 4-3 guy. He was a 4-3, 4-4 guy. Fast dude.
Football fields are longer than you think.
That monkey gets on your back, boy. It's something serious.
They're long as hell. We are brought to you by our friends at Bet Online, your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. The fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting, your favorite casino and card games, available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, where the game starts. Hey, Cowboys are going to practice today.
Yeah. Are you excited? Football's back.
I love football being back. I do radio. When football is back, it is way easier to do radio. Although now on 97.1 The Freak, you can find it on the iHeartRadio app from 2 to 6 p.m. The Speakeasy with Mike Reiner, Jeff Cavanaugh, Julie Dobson groups. It's a lot easier not having to do 5 hours of just sports because, man, I do love to just be around and do stupid stuff. But, boy, you get football back and life gets so much easier.
Mm.
Life is so much easier. Where is Zack Martin? Where is he? What's he doing today?
That's a great question.
Is he cutting a $50,000 check today, or is he walking in today?
You know what's funny about that? Like, to quote our former president, that's fake news. Like, in all of your years being around football, right? In all of your years, it's about 39 now.
I'm 39. You can see it
39.
right here. See that gray?
Yeah. So let's say for the 29 years before you kind of really understood football, there's never been a fine for something like this that's actually been paid out.
Time. Okay, so time out. New CBA. Teams can't waive that fine. You have to pay it.
Then I'll add it into the contract.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like he shows up and they'll be like, all right, you have to pay those fines and we're going to give you $1 million raise this year.
Yeah, like.
But they can't waive the fines anymore, which is why it's like, huh. So it had me doing math this morning. Like, what if Zach didn't show up for any of training camp? And the answer is that would work out to $1,050,000 that Zach, he had to write a check.
I'm just adding that in. I'm adding it on the back end. Like people don't like, and Zach's made enough money to where, don't get me wrong. Now, trust me, I don't care how much money you got. $1 million is $1 million. It still hurts somewhat when you have to write a check for something that you literally get nothing in return for. But for him, it's his sanity, and you look at where he's at right now, the ninth highest paid offensive guard, and probably still arguably the number 2 at worst guard in the league. And if you're talking about just football presence on the Cowboys, if we're talking about, now I'm not talking about the best athlete or the most important. I'm talking about the best at their position. He might be the best at his position. I think the only other one that you have an argument for is Micah Parsons. Other than that, he is literally the best person on this football team at his position. There is really not much conversation that goes on when it talks about offensive guard play, and Zack Martin is not one of the first or second names out of your mouth in the entire National Football League. So, yeah, I mean, what is he doing right now? You think he got breakfast this morning? What do you think his breakfast orders was?
I think if you are 300 pounds or more Like some of these guys, the offensive linemen, when they retire, it's easy to lose weight because they had to try to keep it on. So I bet he has eggs, mini eggs.
What about one of those stub specials? You know what I'm saying? From Capel Deli. You know what I mean?
What is that?
Oh, you never been to Capel Deli?
Oh no, I did one time when I went to golf. Yeah. Because I was going to the golf course out there. Yeah. I did eat breakfast out there one time. I had an omelet.
You went to Capel Deli and you got an omelet?
I think so.
You're not living life right. Okay.
I never have.
That's like going to Nick and Sam's and getting, I don't know,
ice cream.
Fish.
Some people like fish. I don't.
Yeah, the stub special though, it's a layered breakfast sandwich. About 6
That is what okay. Yep, that's what I had. Yep.
6 pieces of bacon.
Yep.
3 sausage links cut open, sausage patty, about 3 eggs, cheese, Texas toast.
Yeah, he could be having that, but if he's got to write a $50,000 check today, he might be being frugal, and he might have gotten frozen fruit from the grocery store and made a smoothie and just added a scoop of protein out of a giant whey container that's like $60 and lasts you months. I don't know. The leverage part of this is the part that is always fun to debate, because like the running backs, where it's like, oh, we're going to have a Zoom call, and then after this Zoom call, we're going to be united. And Saquon was like, hello, Zoom call. And when they hit hang up, he was like, I'm going to go to camp now.
Which, by the way, Cowboys running back Tony Parker said this morning on his interview that he was not, Tony Pollard, he was not a part of that Zoom call. So he said, hey, I already signed my deal, so no need for you to talk to me. I got my 10.1 on the way. So he wasn't a part of that phone call.
Yeah, no, he was like, I was a 4th round pick. I haven't made money yet. I'm going to take this 10 million. And then next year, if somebody wants to pay me more, that'll be great. We'll see, but I'm going to get 10 million. Yeah. Whereas 1st round picks, like, we've already made millions. I want, now I'm looking for tens and tens and tens of millions. But sorry to you guys. It's just the league catching up. Like, there's literally nothing that could possibly be done except for some running back just being otherworldly and infinitely better than all of you. It just ain't happening no more because the league has figured it out. It's a quarterback-driven league. It's a passing-driven league. It's about passing the ball, protecting the passer, sacking the passer, who the passer is throwing to, and who is covering the people that the passer is throwing to. That's what the league's about. So, plus your prime years usually end around the age of 25 or 26. Sorry, it's tough. But anyway, what was I going to say? The leverage thing is always fun to me to try to figure out in my own brain, does Zack Martin have leverage? Because my first thought is, if they line up today, and I don't even know who's at right guard. If it's Josh Ball is at right guard today, that sounds like leverage to me. I've seen him play. That sounds like leverage to me.
Yep.
And then, but from the Cowboys' perspective, I think you could look at it and be like, he's also Zack Martin. We don't care how much you practice. We don't want you playing in preseason games. I bet you start showing up during the season, or you don't get paid on Tuesdays either. Like, I could see it from both directions. The Cowboys are known to fold up like a cheap tent. So if you want to try to play with them and see if you can get your raise, and Zack Martin's worth it. I cheer for every player to make every dollar ever, even the running backs. But we also analyze the sport in a salary cap league, so we're trying to build the best team. So while I want every running back to get all the dollars ever, I want him to get it from somebody else because I want my team to win. So I pull for everybody. Zack Martin's super important. If he really has the nuts to not show up, and that goes into the year, in a year where the Cowboys have a real chance to be a Super Bowl contender, I think he could get him to fold. I think he actually does have some leverage.
And I think you hit on a massive point in your last statement. In a year that the Cowboys have a really realistic chance of competing for a Super Bowl. That's not. I mean, I heard somebody say the other day, like, well, we didn't have Zack Martin against Tampa Bay, and we fared well against that game. You can always make ways for situational stuff, right? You can always kind of scheme up things, but when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, and in my opinion, the playoffs are the nuts and bolts of this thing. You don't want to be without a guy like Zack Martin, especially when you know just how important the interior part of this offensive line is to your quarterback's production. If you want to see another year with Dak throwing 14, 15, 16, 17 interceptions, you continue to let that interior part be a weak point for this offensive line. And you're going to find yourself in that same situation that you found yourself a year ago saying, too many turnovers. Because you don't have a quarterback who's standing there at 6'5" that can stand over the line of scrimmage or gets the ball off at these Tom Brady type releases. So you need a little bit more time in that pocket to get the ball, off. And not having Zack Martin, I'm sorry. It's just, I know he's 30-something years old, but he's the best at what he does. Every single year, like the man has more Pro Bowls than he has holding calls. Like, think about that for a second. In all of his years in football, he has more Pro Bowls or just about as many Pro Bowls than he does holding calls. Like, he's flawless at what he does. And you don't have that many flawless players on your football team. Even Micah Parsons, he's flawed. He has some flawed things. Now, he's a freak athlete. And when you're that freakish of an athlete, your flaws get erased with your athleticism for the time being. But Zack Martin is one of those things in football where you talk about you can set your watch to. He's going to be good. He's going to hold it down. And with Steele coming back, you're going to have to kind of usher him back in. So you're not Steele, while he may say he's ready to go and he's not performing on PUP, I don't think you're going to just throw him out there for all the practice reps and not having Zack Martin. And to your point, we've seen Josh Ball. We seen him. We seen him, and what we saw was not a good look.
He made a 70-year-old man just jump off the bench and say, "Coach, I know I've never played on the right, but I'll try it." And they were like, "Thank you, Jason Peters. Go try, please, God."
So, yeah, I think Zack Martin has a ton of leverage. I know that he has years left on his contract and all that kind of stuff, but he sees the writing on the wall. He sees that there's about to be a bunch of checks cut to a bunch of different guys. One already being cut in the signing of Trevon Diggs, of Trayvon Diggs, excuse me. And we know Micah Parsons is looming, and CeeDee Lamb is looming, and Dak is going to want some more money. So Zack Martin is saying, you know what? Let me get my cut of this pie, Stephen Jones, before you divvy this thing up to all these other people. Because contrary to how some may believe, I am him. Literally, I am him. There's not one person on this team who can say statistically, who can say it with accolades that are better than I. I am the best of the best at what I do at this position, and I want to be paid like it. Because there's a lot of guys in this league who aren't sniffing my dirty draws who are making $7 million more than me, and I don't like it.
Yeah, now the Trayvon Diggs contract, we got to go. You have to be on the record with every contract extension. Is this a good one or a bad one? And I'm going to go Trayvon Diggs. I lean good. Like, it won't be a bad contract. Do I think that he is one of the 3 to 5 best corners in football? I don't. Do I think he's a dude who is still getting better because he's only been playing this spot for 5 years? I do. Do I think he'll ever have 11 interceptions in the season again? Absolutely not. But I think he is a good to very good player who's improving, that plays a premium position. And so I looked at his contract and I went, oh, like the 5th or 6th highest paid corner, not set in the market, locked in long-term. Good. I think that works for everybody. And that's why that deal got done, by the way.
Right.
That's why he got done and CD didn't. CD's looking at much bigger numbers, and he might be looking higher towards the top of the market. Right. And so they're like, yeah, we'll keep talking with you. But Trayvon, can we talk about being like, the top 5 guys and then you? Would that be okay? And he was like, yeah. And they were like, great. Sounds fair. Done. So I think that contract, it works.
No, I think it's great for the simple fact we've watched the Cowboys time and time again gamble on these contracts and say, well, we'll just wait till the end of the year to get things done. And it hurts them. It hurts them in the fact that they look around and they go, oh, snap, we really need this guy, so now we have to pay him. Or they go, oh, snap, this guy turned in another amazing season. Now the price just went up even more. So, will Trayvon Diggs ever have 11 interceptions at the beginning of the season? Probably not, but he's going to be a part of a really good defense. When you add Stephon Gilmore, I think Micah Parsons is going to take the next step over. You add some interior defensive linemen in the draft and Mozzie Smith. You bring back Big Hankins. You know what Tank is going to be on the other side. So you have pieces in there, Damone Clark and those other kids, young guys coming up. What you have on the back end and the 3-headed monster with your safeties with Hooker and Curse and number 6.
Donovan Wilson.
So you're looking at a defense that's going to be a really good defense, probably one of the top 5 defenses in the league. So there's a really good chance, maybe number 1. I'm saying top 5, but you're right, maybe number 1. But if you let Trayvon Diggs go into a season and he gets 6, 7, 8, 9 interceptions again in the season, that puts him in the conversation of being one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And then when you get to the offseason, he goes, well, remember before we were trying to talk and you didn't, and I got 9 picks this year, more than either tied with or more than any other cornerback in the league? Yeah, now I want to be paid like one of the number 1 cornerbacks in the league. And that price jumps up significantly. So I think the Cowboys got this one right by getting out the way early. So no matter what Trayvon Diggs does this year on the surplus side, it won't impact the contract being raised up at the end of the year. They got that done, that solidified, and now they can start kind of trying to move numbers around and knowing, all right, we know that CD wants the top of the market. He's going to probably have another 1,300-yard season, barring any injuries to Dak Prescott or him, 10 touchdown type year. So he's going to go, hey, guys, yeah, 11, 1,200 yards again, 8, 9, 10 touchdowns. I want $35, $40 million a year too. So, yeah. So now they have that out the way. They can kind of move things around and figure things out and do what they do in that cap thing. They move numbers all around the place, gymnastics.
Yeah, and if Terrence Steele is good and they don't get a deal done with him, I think you had a potential problem next offseason where you were going to have Terrence Steele is going to be a free agent and Trayvon Diggs is going to be a free agent, and I can only tag one of them. And now you've kind of cleared that hurdle where you don't have to worry about that because you've got somebody done. And what's going to happen, what would have happened if that did happen, Trayvon Diggs had a great year and he was sitting there, they would have been like, yeah, you're right. That was really good. And you deserve a lot, but here's your franchise.
Yeah.
So that's how that would have gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I think that's all we got. Like, I'm geared up to see who are what not very good players line up at right guard and right tackle. I need Zack Martin to be at camp because I like the most fun thing to view at training camp to me is the juggernaut matchups. And I know it's unfair in like one-on-one settings and all that crap, but I don't care. I want to see Mozzie Smith smash into Zack Martin, just like I want to see CeeDee Lamb against Trayvon Diggs and Stephon Gilmore. I like that iron sharpens iron matchups. And so if we could get Zach to camp, that would be great. I wonder if Jerry's got the nuts to wait out Zack Martin and just be like, we'll see you when you get here, pal. But I don't know. So we'll just track Zack Martin. We're just going to track. That's what we're going to do. Cowboys, kick ass. Have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited camp is back. There's going to be a ton of storylines. And there's one thing that I've been kind of sitting on, and we'll talk about it later on. It's a Micah Parsons piece. And we'll dive more into this throughout the training camp situation. But, I don't know if I'm a firm and full believer of this full-time Micah Parsons defensive end position.
Okay, I was wondering how we had gotten. We're like 18 minutes in, hadn't been a damn bit of hating. No, yeah, okay, yeah, great, yeah, okay. So you're saying Micah sucks?
No, I am saying I'm saying that Dan Quinn is doing the best for Dan Quinn and putting his premium player in a premium position. But I don't think Dan Quinn is doing the best for Micah Parsons. I think I think this position is going to wear Micah Parsons down. I don't think his body, like you saw last year.
Yeah, last year he had like 1.5 sacks in the last 7 weeks or something like that.
I don't
those numbers up, but I'm not far off.
His body isn't made for this. And the one thing I do know, whatever weight you put on in the offseason, don't last during the regular season. It doesn't.
Well, that depends who you are, because in basketball, Luka manages to get fatter during the year, and that's hard to do playing basketball.
Yeah, because basketball don't practice. Have you watched a basketball practice? It's a glorified walkthrough. They don't practice, and if they do practice, it's just 2 hours. It's not like football where you're in the elements. You got 10 pounds of pads on. You're running miles technically a day, so you just don't. And I just I was around a guy in DeMarcus Ware who struggled to keep on weight, and he was walking around at like 265, 270. And a guy like Micah Parsons who's trying to get to 250, 255, to play a position where you're smashing up against 300, 320-pound, 330-pound dudes day in and day out, play in, play out. It just doesn't bode well. And it's cool now that he's young and he's athletic and his body bounces back. But there's going to come a point in time where those injuries mount up, a little bit of age get on you, and it's going to be hard to come back. So I just something that I'm watching over time, just Micah playing this position, and I just know that 10 pounds that he put on comes off really quick when you get running around and practice stuff like that, and for a guy who's just trying to keep weight on. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting thing that I want to watch. And I know people are going to say, "Well, LT," and I'm going, "Well, LT wasn't a defensive end, so don't give me that. Don't tell me that LT was a defensive end. He wasn't."
And the offensive linemen weren't quite as big.
So yeah, it's just something I want to watch. Just something I want to watch. A little hate in my blood, but something I want to watch.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. I think Micah Parsons is a really good player. I'm not sure why Jesse doesn't. And I think
he's an amazing player.
I heard that's what I heard. And what you tell your friends is Jesse Holley hates Micah Parsons.
I just want people to understand at times that, like, even though coaches are always going to do what's best for them.
Yeah.
They always are.
Okay. That's a fair point. Yeah. Guess who else is? This guy.
Yeah.
And everybody else. Yeah. Hey, Jesse, where are people hearing you these days? Where are people catching
you? You can hear me here on Believe in the Cowboys with Jeff Cavanaugh and Jesse Holley. You can hear me on DallasCowboys.com. First show tomorrow, 1 p.m., hanging with the boys. You can hear me at A to Z Sports with my guy Will Steele. We'll be popping that thing off soon, and we're doing the pre- and post-game show, and coming soon, Unfiltered with Jesse Holley.
Ha! Ha! We just posted a link and stuff. We'd like to thank our friends at Bet Online for presenting the show to you guys, but mostly we'd like to thank ourselves for being here. And you. And you for watching. That's also great. Yeah. So thank you. And remember, you have no idea what anyone's going through, so be cool to everyone. We love you. Be easy.
Eliminate the contingencies.